Well, our first speaker gave me a jigsaw puzzle for Christmas one year of a picture of his compost pile. So, so it doesn't surprise me that he has exaggerated postcards. So Jim Potter has a collection of exaggeration postcards. Computers with their Photoshop apps have changed photography forever, but in the early 20th century, two Kansas photographers found a niche in trick photography by creating exaggeration postcards. So here's Jim and his postcards.
Hello, everybody. I'm ready. How about you? Are you old enough to remember road trip vacations down Route 66? How about the restroom breaks at service stations? I can still see the metal carousels advertising postcards for sale, 5 cents each, 6 for a quarter. One of my favorite cards was a jackalope. Fast forward to my exaggeration postcard collection. The all-time best photographer publisher of these cards is William H. Martin. 100 years ago, before Photoshop, he called his work trick photography. Martin operated out of Ottawa, Kansas, and sold his cards throughout the nation. In 1909, Martin sold his photography studio and went into the postcard business full-time. 1909 was the apex of the golden years of postcards. His company turned out 10,000 cards daily. In just over 2 years, he sold 7 million cards. Martin used a photo montage technique. Each element of the scene was photographed, then elements from the multiple photographs were cut and pasted together. And finally, the resulting montage was rephotographed, creating a seamless effect. Martin's cards are by far the best because he was able to show graphic action and imagination. Vegetables, fruits, and animals were his favorite subjects. Ready wit, his dependable brand. Frontier settlers appreciated this humor when faced with scorching summers, drought, grasshoppers, and high interest rates. The farming communities of the Great Plains were especially receptive to exaggeration postcards. Many of these settlers felt like they had been tricked into believing the promotions of land companies, the railroads, and the hype of local newspapers. So the farmers continued this story. Every year was a bumper crop, and fortunes were made overnight. The tall tales were a continuation of the land of promise. Every farm was a bonanza. Note on reverse of card, farm life is somewhat discouraging in this part of the country. The farms and the harvests grew larger and larger each time the story was told. The soil was fertile, rain was abundant, and livestock hardy. A man could start in the spring and plow a straight furrow until fall, then turn around and harvest back. The title of this card is Judging Corn. On another version, Martin has replaced the country fair banner with an advertisement for the Warner Fence Company. It operated out of Ottawa, Kansas, Martin's hometown. In cards and letters, farmers often boasted to families of record yields. The sender writes in 1908 from Minonk, Illinois to Rural Route 1, Conway Springs, Kansas. Well, Clifford, we did not raise any sweet potatoes, but we did raise corn. This is a sample of it. Some postcard collectors prefer cards in uncirculated condition. Not me. This card is postmarked October 15th, 1910, from Chicago to Peck, Kansas, with a poetic inscription that is music to my ears. Down where the watermelons grow, and it's summer all the time. Signed, Charlotte. Postmarked from Varan, Kansas, and dated September 11th, 1909, it says, Dear sister, I tell you I am glad fair is over. Big crowd for Carrie Nation here yesterday, 3,000 people. We are all well, but children have colds and are worn out from a weekend road. Home, Harlan. When picture postcards were first introduced, it was predicted they would be a flop because there was so little room for messages. Plus, the messages would be out in the open for anyone to read. But that was exactly what people wanted. With so little space, they didn't need to write a long letter. And if the neighbors read their mail, this was fine too. Adventurous fishing trips were newsworthy. And if the card was humorous, then everyone could share the same laugh. If I was him, I wouldn't be laughing. F.D. Connard, a photographer in Garden City, Kansas, began creating and producing his own exaggeration cards in the mid-1930s. His subjects were gigantic grasshoppers and enormous jackrabbits. Connard said he did it for fun, not to give people a bad impression of Kansas. This 1937 photo card was worth saving. Sent from Great Bend to Emporia, it stated, "Well, Bill, I couldn't get picture of man riding grasshopper, so got one with man using grasshopper to plow field. Do you think this one is large enough for you to ride? Huh?" Garden City, Kansas, 1943. Dear Mother, left Oklahoma City and got in here at 7, 355 miles. Had one flat and a little wire short, but made the trip good. I'm tired. Could not get a bed any place in town. Was disgusted, so went to the police station and told them to get me a bed or lock me up. Hope you're fine. Love, Myrtle. This 1937 postcard is titled Grasshopper Shot Near Miles City, Montana. It's definitely one of my favorites. The photograph lives on today. If you check on the internet, there are sites that will confirm that this is a hoax. I love that an exaggeration postcard from 1937 lives on today. This tabloid newspaper writes, a 48-inch grasshopper chewed its way through an acre of corn before farmer Barry Gisler drew a bead on the creature with his .30-30 rifle and shot it dead. This picture was shot with a telephoto lens just as the jackalopes were startled by the cameraman's presence. They are the rarest animals in North America. A cross between a now extinct small deer and a species of rabbit, jackalopes are extremely shy and wild. None have been captured alive. This is a rare photo taken at their feeding grounds in the high country. Thank you.